William Prescott stood in the grand office of the Prescott Grand Hotel, a luxurious sanctuary perched high above the bustling city below. The expansive windows framed a view of glistening skyscrapers and the frenetic energy of life on the streets. Yet, despite the opulence surrounding him, a feeling of disconnection gnawed at his insides. The hotel that had catapulted him to wealth and status now felt like a gilded cage, its walls echoing with the laughter of guests he hardly knew. He turned away from the window, allowing the heavy curtains to fall back into place, blocking out the vibrant world outside. His office was a testament to his success. Elegant mahogany furniture, a plush leather chair that cradled the weight of authority, and walls adorned with accolades and photographs from the hotel's glory days. But these symbols of triumph only deepened his sense of isolation. William sighed, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair, contemplating the dissonance between his position and the real experiences of those who walked through the hotel's ornate doors. As he paced the room, the soft tap of heels approached, drawing his attention. Claire, his diligent assistant, entered, her expression a blend of concern and determination. "Mr. Prescott, we need to talk," she said, her voice steady yet laced with urgency. "The latest guest satisfaction surveys have come back, and the results are troubling." William raised an eyebrow, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. "How troubling are we talking, Claire?" "Guests are complaining about everything from the service to the cleanliness of the rooms. There's a noticeable decline in our reviews, and it's affecting our bookings. If we don't address this soon, we could face significant financial repercussions." He leaned back against his desk, crossing his arms. "I understand, but I can't be everywhere at once. I trust our management team to handle these issues." Claire shook her head, her brown eyes sharp with intensity. "They may not be addressing them adequately. With all due respect, Mr. Prescott, you've been so focused on expanding the brand and increasing profits that you've lost touch with the day-to-day operations. You need to see firsthand what's happening." William's mind raced. The weight of his responsibilities pressed down on him, but Claire's words struck a chord. "What do you suggest?" "Go undercover," she replied, her tone growing more fervent. "Experience the hotel as a guest and an employee. You'll gain insight into the real problems and perhaps even discover what our staff and guests are truly feeling." He chuckled lightly, the idea seeming both absurd and exhilarating. "You want me to pose as a waiter? Why not? It's a chance to reconnect with the heart of the Prescott Grand. You might learn something invaluable," Claire urged, her enthusiasm infectious. William considered this for a moment, weighing the pros and cons. The thought of slipping into anonymity sparked a flicker of excitement within him. He could lose the title of William Prescott, hotel magnate, and become just another face in the crowd. "All right, I'll do it," he finally said, a smirk breaking across his face. "But I want you to help me prepare." Claire's eyes lit up with approval. "You won't regret this, Mr. Prescott. I'll arrange everything. We'll get you a uniform that fits and a few training hours with the staff before your first shift." With a nod of agreement, William felt a rush of adrenaline course through him. What started as a mundane day in the office was transforming into an adventure, a chance to rediscover the essence of the hotel he had built from the ground up. Hours later, William stood in front of the mirror in his apartment, adjusting the black waistcoat of his waiter's uniform. The white shirt felt crisp against his skin, and the bow tie was a challenge to tie properly, but he managed. As he examined his reflection, he felt a mix of nerves and excitement. This was a world he had never truly experienced, yet it was the very foundation of his empire. "Is this really what I'm doing?" he muttered to himself, shaking his head as he grabbed his car keys. The drive to the Prescott Grand was filled with anticipation, and he found himself rehearsing how to act inconspicuously among the staff and guests. Would they recognize him? Would he be able to blend into the background? Upon arriving at the hotel, William stepped inside, immediately enveloped by the familiar scent of freshly polished marble and the faint aroma of gourmet cuisine wafting from the kitchen. The lobby was a symphony of chatter, laughter, and the soft clinking of glasses. He paused, taking in the luxurious chandeliers that cast a warm glow over the guests lounging in plush armchairs, and the elegant marble floors that reflected their opulence. His heart raced as he approached the staff entrance. With each step, he felt more out of place. The uniform was a costume that didn't quite fit, a facade he wore like a mask. He pushed open the door, and the bustling chaos of the kitchen greeted him. Chefs barking orders, waiters rushing past with trays of food, and the clatter of cutlery creating a frenetic rhythm. "Hey, you must be the new guy," a cheerful voice called out. William turned to see a young woman with a bright smile and a messy bun approach him, her apron splattered with flour and sauce. "I'm Jenna. You're gonna fit right in. Just keep your head up and don't drop anything." Yeah, William," he replied, forcing a smile as he felt his stomach twist with anxiety. "I'm here to help out." "Awesome. We could use an extra set of hands. Just follow my lead, and you'll be fine," she reassured him, her energy infectious. As Jenna led him through the kitchen, she pointed out various stations and introduced him to the other staff members. "This is where the magic happens," she said, gesturing to the line of chefs expertly plating dishes. "And over there is the bar. If you think you can handle a cocktail or two, we'll have a little fun." William laughed, feeling a bit of tension ease as he absorbed the camaraderie among the staff. They were a tight-knit team, each member playing a crucial role in the hotel's success. But as he donned his apron and took his place among them, the weight of his true identity felt heavier than ever. He was not just a waiter. He was the man who owned this establishment, and yet here he was trying to walk in their shoes. "Ready for your first table?" Jenna asked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "I promise it'll be a breeze." "Let's do it," he said, straightening his posture and taking a deep breath. As they headed into the dining area, William glanced around at the guests, their faces lit with joy as they savored their meals. He felt a strange sense of belonging amidst the grandeur, but the reality of his mission loomed over him. Would he uncover the truths he sought, or would he remain a mere observer in a world he had lost touch with? With Jenna by his side, he felt a surge of determination. Whatever lay ahead, he was ready to confront it, even if it meant facing the darker aspects of his own creation. Little did he know, the night would unravel in ways he could never have imagined. William Prescott adjusted his bow tie nervously as he stepped into the bustling dining area of the Prescott Grand. The opulent chandeliers cast a warm glow over the elegantly set tables, where guests were indulging in gourmet meals and fine wines. Despite the luxurious atmosphere, William felt a jarring disconnect between the glimmering surroundings and the weight of the disguise he wore. He was not just a waiter. He was the owner of this grand establishment, hidden among the staff to gain insight into the experiences that had eluded him for far too long. As he moved to the back of the restaurant, the frenetic energy of the place washed over him. Waiters darted between tables, balancing trays laden with food, while chefs shouted orders from the kitchen, the scent of garlic and herbs wafting through the air. William took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. He had been a businessman for years, making decisions from the comfort of his office, but this was different. This was raw, real, and intimidating. "Hey, new guy!" a voice called out, breaking through his reverie. William turned to see a petite waitress with a bright smile and a quick wit. "You look like you could use some help." "I'm Jenna." She extended her hand, and William grasped it, feeling the warmth of her energy. "William," he replied, forcing a smile. "I'm just trying to get the hang of this." Jenna laughed, a musical sound that cut through the chaos. "You're in for a ride. It's fast-paced, but don't worry. We're all in this together. Just follow my lead." Her confidence was infectious, and William felt a flicker of hope that he could navigate this new role. As they moved through the restaurant, Jenna explained the flow of service, pointing out the regular guests and the peculiarities of the menu. "That table over there? The couple in the corner? They always order the lobster, and if they don't get it exactly right, you'll hear about it." She chuckled, her eyes sparkling with mischief. William nodded, absorbing her insights. "And what about that table?" he asked, gesturing to a group of businessmen in sharp suits, their laughter booming over the clinking of glasses. "Ah, the Thompson table. Mr. Thompson is a real character." He's been here a few times, always seems to have something up his sleeve. Jenna's tone shifted slightly, a hint of caution in her voice. Just keep an eye on him. William raised an eyebrow, intrigued. What do you mean? She leaned in slightly, lowering her voice. I've overheard him talking about some deals that don't sound entirely above board. Just be careful, okay? He's got a reputation for being slippery. The warning hung in the air as they moved on. William's curiosity piqued. Was there more to Mr. Thompson than met the eye? He filed the information away, determined to keep a close watch on the man. As the evening wore on, William found himself caught in the whirlwind of service. He struggled to balance trays and memorize orders, but Jenna was always nearby, offering guidance and encouragement. You're doing great, William. Just keep smiling and remember, it's all about the guest's experience, she reassured him, her infectious enthusiasm driving him to push through his clumsiness. However, amidst the chaos, William couldn't shake the feeling that there was something amiss within the hotel. The undercurrents of tension among the staff were palpable, and as he moved through the dining room, he caught snippets of conversations that hinted at deeper issues. Whispers of complaints and dissatisfaction floated around him, but he couldn't pinpoint their source. Did you hear about the strange noises in the West Wing last night? One waiter murmured to another as they passed him. William leaned closer, straining to catch the rest of the conversation. Yeah, and there's been a couple of complaints about missing items from rooms. It's weird, the other waiter replied, glancing around as though afraid someone might overhear them. I think we might have a thief in the hotel. The words sent a chill down William's spine. Was it just a simple case of theft? Or was there something more sinister at play? He resolved to investigate further, but for now he needed to focus on his duties. As William returned to the kitchen to refill his tray, he found himself next to Jenna, who was expertly plating a dish. You're a natural in here, Jenna, he complimented, watching her deft movements. Thanks. I just love what I do, she replied, her eyes sparkling with passion. But it's not all sunshine and roses. There's a lot of pressure to keep everything running smoothly, especially with the hotel's reputation on the line. William nodded, the weight of his responsibility settling heavily on his shoulders. I can only imagine. That's why I'm here, to understand what really goes on behind the scenes. Jenna raised an eyebrow, curiosity glinting in her gaze. What do you mean? Are you really just a waiter? He hesitated, caught off guard by her directness. Let's just say I'm here to observe and learn, he replied, choosing his words carefully. Fair enough, she said, her tone playful. Just remember, if you want to survive in this world, you need to keep your eyes and ears open. There's more to this place than meets the eye. The atmosphere shifted as a commotion erupted in the dining area. William and Jenna exchanged glances before rushing out to see what had occurred. Mr. Thompson was at the center of it, his voice raised as he argued with a couple at the table next to him. This is unacceptable. I demand to speak to the manager, the woman exclaimed, her voice trembling with anger. Calm down, ma'am. I'm sure we can resolve this amicably, Mr. Thompson sneered, his demeanor arrogant and confrontational. William felt a sense of urgency. He needed to know what was going on, and he needed to handle it delicately. Let me take care of this, he said to Jenna, stepping forward into the fray. Excuse me, Mr. Thompson, William interjected, his tone firm yet courteous. I'm William, one of the staff here. What seems to be the problem? The couple looked at him, surprise etched on their faces. This man is being rude and dismissive. We've had issues with our room, and he won't take us seriously, the man shouted, his frustration palpable. William turned his gaze to Thompson, who merely shrugged. I'm just a guest here, trying to enjoy my dinner. If they have a problem, they should take it up with management. Perhaps I can assist, William offered, maintaining his composure. If you could please tell me the specifics of your issue, I'll ensure it's addressed immediately. As the couple began to explain their grievances, William felt Jenna's presence behind him, her silent support bolstering his confidence. He was beginning to realize that this wasn't just about the hotel. It was about the people who walked through its doors, both guests and staff. Once the situation was resolved, William returned to the kitchen with Jenna, her expression a mix of admiration and curiosity. "You handled that really well. You've got a knack for this," she said, a hint of surprise in her voice. "Thanks. I just want to make sure everyone has a good experience here," he replied, still processing the encounter. "But I can't shake the feeling that there's more to this hotel than what I see." Jenna nodded, her expression serious. "You're right. There's a lot happening behind the scenes, and if we're not careful, it could all come crashing down." Their eyes met, an unspoken understanding passing between them. They were both determined to uncover the truth, whatever it may be. As they prepared for the next wave of diners, William felt a sense of camaraderie with Jenna. This was just the beginning of their journey together, and he was ready to dive deeper into the mysteries of the Prescott Grand. William Prescott and Jenna stood behind a lush potted plant in the hotel's opulent lobby, their eyes darting from one guest to another. The vibrant atmosphere of the Prescott Grand, with its golden chandeliers and polished marble floors, felt surreal to William, who had only recently been a figure of authority rather than a mere waiter. Now, as he observed the guests indulging in the luxury he had created, a sense of urgency flared within him. He needed to understand the grievances that had plagued his hotel. "Did you hear that?" Jenna whispered, her voice barely above a murmur. William leaned closer, careful not to draw attention. A couple seated at a nearby table was animatedly discussing their experience at the hotel, their voices tinged with annoyance. "I can't believe they lost my luggage. This is unacceptable," the woman exclaimed, her hands animatedly gesturing as she spoke. "Calm down, honey," her partner replied, trying to soothe her. "Let's just ask the front desk again. Maybe they'll sort it out." William exchanged a glance with Jenna, her brow furrowed in concern. "This isn't the first complaint I've heard," he murmured. "There's something deeper going on here." "Let's keep listening," Jenna replied, her eyes glinting with determination. As they silently observed, the couple's conversation shifted to more strange occurrences. "Did you hear the noises last night?" the woman asked, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial tone. "I swear I heard someone crying in the hallway." "Yeah, I heard it too. It's like the hotel is haunted," her partner replied, shaking his head. "I thought it was just my imagination, but it was so real." William felt a chill run down his spine. Haunted? The very notion seemed absurd, yet the sense of unease in the air was palpable. He had to dig deeper. After the couple left, William turned to Jenna. "We need to talk to more guests. If there's a pattern to these complaints, we might find something substantial." Jenna nodded, her expression resolute. "Let's divide and conquer. I'll check with the kitchen staff. They might have overheard something. You can mingle with the guests in the lounge." William hesitated for a moment, sensing the gravity of their undertaking. "Be careful. If anyone suspects anything, we could be in trouble." "Don't worry about me," she replied with a reassuring smile. "I can handle myself. Just be discreet." With a final nod, they parted ways, and William slipped into the bustling lounge. He approached a group of guests, engaging in light conversation while carefully probing for insights. As he poured drinks and served hors d'oeuvres, snippets of complaints floated his way. "Did you see the state of my room?" a middle-aged man scoffed, gesturing animatedly. "Stains on the sheets and the bathroom was filthy. Absolutely unacceptable for a hotel of this caliber." A woman chimed in, her tone laced with disdain. "I expect better treatment for the price I'm paying." William's heart sank with each revelation. The complaints piled up like a weight on his shoulders. He moved to another table, where an elderly couple was discussing their experience. "The staff seems lovely, but there's just something off about this place," the woman said, her voice trembling slightly. "I swear I saw someone lurking in the corridors at night." William's eyebrows shot up. "Lurking? What do you mean?" The man leaned forward, his voice low. "I don't want to spread rumors, but I've seen shadows moving. It's unsettling." "Maybe it's just the hotel's age," the woman interjected, attempting to lighten the mood. "But I can't shake the feeling that there's something strange happening here." As the couple continued to speak, William felt a growing sense of urgency. He needed to find out what was going on behind the scenes. After they finished their conversation, he thanked them and excused himself. He made his way to the staff area, where he spotted Jenna leaning against the wall, a thoughtful expression on her face. "What did you find out?" he asked, eager to share his findings. "Nothing concrete, but I overheard some of the kitchen staff talking about missing food supplies," she replied, her brow creased in concentration. "They mentioned some strange deliveries happening late at night." "Late-night deliveries?" William echoed, the pieces of the puzzle starting to align. "That might explain the noises. If someone's involved in something shady, it could be linked to those deliveries." Jenna's eyes widened. "What if it's more than just a few missing items? We could be dealing with something serious." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of a door creaking open at the end of the hallway. William's instincts kicked in, and he motioned for Jenna to follow him as they cautiously approached the source of the noise. A locked door caught their attention, the faint sound of muffled voices seeping through. "What do you think is behind there?" Jenna whispered, her curiosity piqued. "I don't know, but it sounds like we need to find out," William replied, glancing around to ensure no one was watching. They exchanged a determined look before William reached for the doorknob, testing it for any signs of give. It was locked tight. "Maybe we can find another way in," Jenna suggested, glancing down the hall. "There has to be another entrance to the staff area." William nodded, the thrill of the chase igniting a fire within him. They moved swiftly, searching for an alternative route. After a few moments of hurried exploration, they found a staircase leading down to the basement, dimly lit and eerily quiet. As they descended, the air grew colder, and William felt a sense of foreboding wash over him. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, glancing back at Jenna. "We need answers," she replied, her voice steady. "Whatever is happening here, it's connected to those voices." Reaching the bottom of the stairs, they found themselves in a dark, musty basement filled with old furniture and forgotten relics. The muffled voices grew louder, and William strained to hear what was being said. "Just hand over the cash, and we'll take care of the rest," a deep voice intoned, sending chills down William's spine. Jenna's eyes widened in alarm, and they pressed closer to the wall, peering around a corner. There, in the flickering light of a single bulb, stood Mr. Thompson, the mysterious guest who had been acting suspiciously since his arrival. He was engaged in a heated exchange with a staff member, a young man William recognized as one of the bellhops. "I can't keep covering for you, Thompson," the bellhop said, his voice shaky. "What if someone finds out?" "Just do as I say, and you'll be fine," Thompson replied, his tone menacing. "You don't want to lose your job over this, do you?" William exchanged a glance with Jenna, their hearts racing. The realization of what they were witnessing hit them like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just a minor issue. They were uncovering a potential blackmail scheme right under their noses. Jenna's eyes were wide with shock. "We have to get out of here and report this," she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. But as they turned to leave, a floorboard creaked beneath William's foot, and both men turned toward them, eyes narrowing in suspicion. "Who's there?" Thompson barked, the tension in the air shifting instantly. William's heart raced, his mind racing for a plan. "Run!" he hissed to Jenna, and they bolted back up the stairs, adrenaline surging through their veins. As they sprinted through the corridors of the Prescott Grand, the reality of their discovery settled in. They were on the brink of exposing something sinister, and there was no turning back. William Prescott's heart raced as he and Jenna stood frozen in the dim light of the basement, the revelation of Mr. Thompson's clandestine dealings echoing in his mind. The air was thick with tension, and the faint sounds of the hotel's operations above them felt worlds away. He felt a mix of adrenaline and dread. They had stumbled onto something far more sinister than he had anticipated. "Did you see that?" Jenna whispered, her eyes wide with disbelief. "We need to confront him. He can't just get away with this." William shook his head slowly, still processing the scene they had just witnessed. "It's not that simple. We don't know who else is involved. If he's working with the staff..." His voice trailed off, uncertain of how deep the conspiracy ran. Jenna clenched her fists, her resolve hardening. Then we gather evidence. We can't let this go. If they're blackmailing guests and stealing from them, we have to stop it, right? William responded, regaining his composure. But we need a plan. We can't just rush in blindly. We need to find out more about this guy and what he's up to. They crept back upstairs, moving cautiously through the labyrinth of the Prescott Grand. The opulent decor felt suffocating now, every glimmering surface a stark contrast to the dark underbelly they had uncovered. William's mind raced as he thought of how to approach this tangled web of deceit. As they returned to the bustling restaurant, Jenna glanced around, her keen eyes scanning the room for any signs of Mr. Thompson or the staff member they had seen. "Let's find somewhere private to talk," she said, leading him to a small staff break room at the back of the hotel. Once inside, they closed the door, the sound of laughter and clinking glasses muffled. "What do we do now?" Jenna asked, her voice steady but her expression betraying her anxiety. William pulled out his phone, scrolling through the hotel's internal system. "Let's check the guest logs. If Thompson is here for a reason, there must be some kind of record of who he's meeting with. We can cross-reference that with the staff." Jenna nodded, her fingers tapping on the counter thoughtfully. "And maybe we can find out who that staff member was? If they're working together, we might be able to uncover more of what's going on." "Good idea," William replied, his mind shifting into action mode. They spent the next few minutes poring over the records, William's heart sinking with each entry. They discovered that Mr. Thompson had been seen interacting with several members of the staff, all of whom had been with the Prescott Grand for years. "Look at this," William pointed to the screen, his finger hovering over a name. "Mark Reynolds. He's been here since before I bought the hotel." Jenna squinted at the screen. "And it looks like he's been on the night shift a lot lately." That's when the complaints started rolling in. Her brow furrowed as she processed the information. What if they're working together to pull this off? He could be the inside man. William nodded slowly, the pieces of the puzzle fitting together in his mind. "We need to find a way to observe them, see if they're meeting again." Just as they began to formulate a plan, the door swung open, and in walked Claire, William's assistant. Her eyes darted between the two of them, suspicion lacing her features. "What are you two doing in here?" she asked, her tone sharp. Jenna straightened, a flicker of unease crossing her face. "Just taking a break," she replied, her voice steady. Claire narrowed her eyes, clearly unconvinced. "You shouldn't be in here together. It's not professional. The guests are expecting top-notch service. Not whatever this is." William felt a surge of annoyance. "We're just trying to do our jobs, Claire. The hotel is facing serious issues, and we need to address them." "Serious issues?" Claire echoed, her voice dripping with skepticism. "I find that hard to believe. As far as I'm concerned, everything is running smoothly." Jenna exchanged a glance with William, silently urging him to keep his cool. "With all due respect, Claire, that's not true," Jenna said calmly. "We've been hearing complaints about theft and strange occurrences from guests. We need to investigate." Claire's expression hardened, her posture shifting as she leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Investigate? You two think you can just go poking around without any proof? This is a high-end hotel, not some low-budget operation. You could ruin everything with your reckless behavior." William felt the weight of her words. "No one wants to ruin anything, Claire. We're trying to protect the reputation of this hotel. If there's something wrong, we have to find out what it is. Then let me handle it. You two need to focus on your jobs," Claire snapped, her voice sharp as glass. "Leave the investigating to the professionals." William's frustration boiled beneath the surface. "And what if you're the one who needs to be investigated?" He shot back, the accusation hanging heavy in the air. Claire's expression shifted, her eyes narrowing as if she had been struck. "I don't know what you're implying, but I won't let you jeopardize this hotel over some wild conspiracy theory." Jenna stepped forward, her voice firm. "We're not making accusations, Claire. We're looking for the truth. There are real problems here that you seem to be ignoring." "I said back off." Claire's voice rose, filled with a mixture of anger and something deeper, Fear? You don't know what you're getting into. William felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean by that? He probed, his instincts kicking in. But Claire dismissed his inquiry with a wave of her hand. You're both being foolish. This hotel has a reputation to uphold, and I won't let either of you ruin it. If you continue down this path, there will be consequences. Before they could respond, she stepped out, leaving the door ajar behind her. The tension in the room was palpable, and William could feel Jenna's unease radiating off her. What was that about? She asked, her voice low. She sounded defensive. Exactly, William replied, his mind racing. She knows something. We need to be careful. If she's involved in this somehow, we could be in real trouble. Jenna nodded, determination flickering in her eyes. Then we need to move quickly. Let's find a way to catch Thompson and Reynolds in the act. If we can get proof, we can confront Claire and put an end to this. William couldn't shake the unease settling in his gut, but he knew Jenna was right. They needed to act before things spiraled further out of control. Together, they crafted a plan, aware of the stakes now higher than ever. They had to tread lightly, for the shadows lurking within the Prescott Grand were darker than they had ever imagined. William Prescott paced the dimly lit back hallway of the Prescott Grand, a mixture of anxiety and determination coursing through him. He had just been confronted by Claire, his longtime assistant, whose knowledge of his true identity felt like a dagger to his back. Betrayal stung sharply, but he couldn't afford to dwell on it. Not now. He needed to focus on the task at hand, and that meant working with Jenna to gather compelling evidence against Claire and Mr. Thompson, the enigmatic guest whose suspicious behavior had sparked their investigation. Jenna, he whispered as he caught up with her near the employee break room, where the scent of stale coffee lingered in the air. We have to act quickly. Claire knows who I am, but we can't let her stop us. Jenna, her brown hair pulled back in a tight bun, looked at him with a mixture of concern and resolve. I can't believe she's involved in this. I always thought she was on your side, William. What's our plan? We need to set a trap during the charity gala tonight, he said, his mind racing. It'll be crowded, which means we'll have a better chance of catching Claire and Thompson in the act. If we can record their conversation and find out what they're really up to, it'll provide us with the leverage we need. Jenna nodded, her eyes sparking with enthusiasm. I know the layout of the hotel like the back of my hand. We can use the staff-only access to position ourselves near the ballroom without raising any suspicions. Perfect, William replied, a flicker of hope igniting within him. We'll need to be discreet. We can't let anyone know we're onto them, especially Claire. She'll do whatever it takes to protect herself. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the city, William and Jenna prepared for the evening's event. The atmosphere in the Prescott Grand was electric, the hotel buzzing with the sounds of laughter, clinking glasses, and the soft strains of a string quartet. William adjusted his waiter's uniform, smoothing down the fabric as he caught a glimpse of himself in the polished mirror. He looked like a stranger, yet this disguise had become his shield. Remember, Jenna said as they moved through the throngs of guests, we're just here to serve. Once we find a good spot, we can wait for the right moment. They maneuvered through the crowd, serving hors d'oeuvres to the well-dressed attendees, scanning the room for any sign of Claire and Mr. Thompson. The gala was in full swing, and the air was thick with luxury and laughter. William's heart raced as he caught sight of Claire across the room, her demeanor poised and confident, chatting with a group of influential guests. He could feel the tension between them, a silent war brewing beneath the surface. There they are, Jenna whispered, pointing discreetly to a corner of the ballroom where Mr. Thompson stood, his back to them. Let's head towards the kitchen. There's a small corridor that leads to the storage area, perfect for our eavesdropping. With a nod, they slipped away, moving towards the kitchen where the sounds of clattering dishes and the shouts of busy staff filled the air. They ducked into the dim corridor, peering out from behind a stack of crates as they watched the ballroom unfold. The atmosphere was vibrant, but William felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Do you think they'll talk here? Jenna asked, her voice barely above a whisper. They will, William replied, his gaze fixed on Claire and Thompson. They're both too arrogant to be cautious in a crowd like this. They think they're untouchable. Just as he finished speaking, Claire stepped away from the group, her eyes scanning the room before she made her way toward the exit, with Mr. Thompson following closely behind. William's heart raced. This was their chance. He motioned for Jenna to follow, and they crept after the two conspirators, careful to keep their distance. The hallway led them to a secluded alcove, away from the prying eyes of the gala. William could hear the muffled voices as he pressed himself against the wall, straining to catch every word. "Thompson, you need to be more careful," Claire said, her voice low and urgent. "If anyone finds out about our arrangement, it's over for both of us." "I'm doing my part, Claire," Thompson replied, his tone defensive. "But you need to ensure your staff doesn't get suspicious. I can't have them poking around and discovering what we're up to." William exchanged a glance with Jenna, both of them wide-eyed. The tension was palpable as Claire's voice rose slightly. "You think I want to lose everything I've worked for? I'm the one who has been keeping this hotel running smoothly while you profit from my efforts. Just remember, I'm the one in charge here." The revelation hit William like a punch to the gut. Claire, his trusted assistant, was not only involved but was also the mastermind behind the scheme. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, but they needed more evidence. He took a step closer, careful not to make a sound. "I need to know the details of the next shipment," Claire continued, her voice dripping with authority. "If we're going to pull this off, you need to ensure that everything is in order. The gala is the perfect distraction. Everyone will be focused on the festivities." "Don't worry," Thompson replied, a hint of arrogance creeping into his voice. "I'll take care of it. Just make sure you keep William Prescott from finding out. He's becoming a bigger problem than we anticipated." William's breath caught in his throat. They were discussing him as if he were merely an obstacle in their plan. He felt a surge of anger but held it back. This was not the time to lose composure. They needed to gather more evidence. "Tonight is crucial," Claire said, her tone becoming sharper. "If we can get through this event without anyone noticing, we can continue unhindered. But if Prescott discovers anything, well, let's just say it won't end well for either of us." Jenna's eyes widened, and she turned to William, her expression a mix of shock and determination. They had to act now. William nodded, signaling her to be ready. As Claire and Thompson continued their conversation, William pulled out his phone, activating the recording feature. This was it. They would have the proof they needed to expose Claire's deception. "Let's go," he whispered to Jenna, and they slowly backed away from their hiding spot, careful not to make any noise. They had to regroup and plan their next steps, but the adrenaline coursing through him was intoxicating. "Did you get that?" Jenna asked breathlessly once they were safely out of earshot. "Every word," William replied, a newfound determination igniting within him. "Now we just need to figure out how to confront her and reveal the truth without putting ourselves in danger." As they made their way back towards the main event, William couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the precipice of a significant breakthrough. Tonight might change everything, and with Jenna by his side, he felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. William and Jenna stood hidden behind a large potted plant in the hotel lobby, their hearts racing as they watched the confrontation unfold. Claire's voice, sharp and accusatory, cut through the air like a knife. "You think you can just waltz in here and ruin everything I've built? Thompson? You're a joke." Mr. Thompson, a thin man with a nervous disposition, shifted uncomfortably under Claire's glare. I'm just trying to do my job," he stammered, his eyes darting around as though searching for an escape. "We can still make this work. Just give me more time." "Time?" Claire scoffed, her voice rising. "You've had more than enough time. The guests are complaining, and the inventory is disappearing. If you can't handle this, I'll find someone who can." She leaned closer, her tone low and menacing. "And mark my words, if you cross me again, it won't end well for you." William's grip tightened on the phone he'd used to start recording, his mind racing. This was it, the evidence they needed. Jenna glanced at him, her eyes wide, filled with both fear and determination. They had to act now. There was no turning back. Just as Claire turned, her eyes locking onto William and Jenna, William stepped out from behind the plant, his heart pounding in his chest. "Claire," he said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "We need to talk." Claire's expression shifted from surprise to fury in an instant. "William, what are you doing here?" she spat, brushing her hair back as if to regain her composure. "This is none of your business." "Oh, but it is," William replied, taking a step closer. "You've been sabotaging the Prescott Grand for your own gain. We have everything we need to prove it." He gestured to the phone in his hand. "You might want to rethink your next move." Jenna, emboldened by William's stance, chimed in. "You can't hide behind your lies anymore. Claire, we know about the thefts, the bribery, everything." Her voice trembled slightly, but she pressed on. "The guests deserve to know the truth." Claire's face paled for a moment before she regained her composure. "You think you can just expose me? You'll ruin everything, William. You'll ruin yourself. You're just a fake waiter playing a game. And I'm the one who knows how to run this hotel." The desperation in her voice was palpable, but William stood firm. "Maybe that's what you've been counting on," he said, his voice low and intense. "Framing me as a fool so you can take control. But it ends here." Before Claire could respond, the commotion of the hotel staff alerted security, who approached swiftly, ready to respond to the escalating situation. William glanced at Jenna, who nodded in silent agreement. They had to present their case to the authorities. "Security," William called out, his voice now commanding. "We need your help here. Claire has been orchestrating a scheme that endangers the guests and the hotel's reputation." The two security guards exchanged glances, clearly confused but attentive. One of them, a burly man with a no-nonsense demeanor, stepped forward. "What's going on here?" William gestured to the phone. "I have a recording of Claire threatening Mr. Thompson and admitting to the thefts. She's been manipulating the hotel's operations for her own gain." It was then that Claire's facade crumbled. "No, you can't do this. I've worked too hard to let you ruin everything." Her voice rose in a frantic pitch, but William remained steady. "Actually, you've worked hard to ruin everything," Jenna interjected, her voice strong. "And we're not going to let you get away with it." As the security guards listened to the recording, their expressions shifted from confusion to disbelief. The burly guard nodded at his partner, signaling him to call for backup. "We'll need to take you in, Claire. You'll regret this," she yelled, her voice echoing in the lavish lobby. "I'll make sure you both pay for this." But William and Jenna stood resolute, their hearts pounding but their resolve unwavering. As Claire was escorted away, they exchanged a glance filled with relief, though the weight of what they had uncovered still hung heavily in the air. Once they were alone again, Jenna let out a breath she didn't realize she had been holding. "I can't believe we did it," she said, a smile beginning to spread across her face. "But what now?" William's expression softened, and he ran a hand through his hair, recognizing the gravity of the situation. "Now we have to rebuild what Claire tried to destroy. The Prescott Grand deserves better, and so do the guests." Jenna nodded, her confidence returning. "We can make this place thrive again. There's so much potential here, and the staff. Most of them want to do a good job. They just need the right leadership." William smiled, realizing for the first time how much he had underestimated Jenna's insights and capabilities. "You're right. I think it's time to make some changes, and I want you to be a part of it." "Me?" Jenna's eyes widened in surprise. "What do you mean?" "I want to reinstate you as the manager of the Prescott Grand," he declared, his voice resolute. "You've shown more dedication and passion for this hotel than anyone else. Together, we can ensure it moves forward with integrity." Jenna's breath caught in her throat, disbelief washing over her. "Are you sure? I mean, I've only been a waitress." "You've been so much more than that," William interrupted gently. "You've been my greatest ally in this mess. I trust your judgment, and I want to make sure this hotel reflects the vision I've always had for it. A place of luxury, honesty, and exceptional service." Tears of gratitude began to well in Jenna's eyes. Thank you, William. I won't let you down. As they walked through the lobby, the chaos of the previous moments slowly faded, replaced by a shared sense of purpose. They had faced darkness together and emerged stronger, ready to lead the Prescott Grand into a new era. Let's start with a staff meeting, William suggested, his enthusiasm infectious. We need to communicate with everyone, reassure them, and get their input on how we can improve operations. I love that idea, Jenna replied, her spirit rekindled. And we should also reach out to the guests who complained. We need to show them that we're listening and that things will change. As they began to brainstorm ways to restore the hotel's reputation, a sense of hope filled the air. William knew that this was just the beginning of their journey, but with Jenna by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With the Prescott Grand poised for a brighter future, William and Jenna stepped out into the bustling world, ready to redefine luxury hospitality, one genuine experience at a time. If you like the content, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and share it with your friends. Your comment is essential for the growth of the channel. And look at this video that appears on the screen. See you soon.